Anyway, what's been happening in the last week, Matt?
Well, the most not the most exciting, but one thing that I thoroughly enjoyed, I finished yesterday, was watching Karate Kid, the original
What
Karate
classic.
Kid.
Just the first what? Just the first one you watched?
Just the first one I've watched
Well, it
so
took you a
far.
week.
No, it didn't take me a week.
I know what you're like for watching things
Over
in
2 nights, this was.
chunks.
Over 2 nights. Um,
How long was the runtime? An hour and 20?
it's the extended cut, 36 hours. Yeah, that's why it took so long. It's it's a film that I saw countless times. Like growing up, because it came out in '84. I would have been 6, but probably watched it when it was on TV and stuff like that. I don't think I ever saw it in cinema, and loved it. But in recent years, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw it. It's probably been at least 20 years since I last saw it.
Really?
And it's a film that I remembered probably just with the, oh, it was a cool 80s film. Like, I think now you see so much of the nostalgia and the retro sort of element around these films that you sort of almost like shove them all into one thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's the same as, that's just an 80s film. But since like recently, where sort of my oldest son is now 12, I've been introduced him to the older films. So we've seen Ghostbusters, we watched all the Back to the Future films recently. And so as a result, I've been sort of revisiting them. All the Karate Kid films are now on Amazon Prime. So sort of prime opportunity to no pun intended, to watch them. And yeah, the Karate Kid is an amazing film. It's not, really well acted. There's some really, I think, him moving to this new school, he's treated really badly by the Cobra Kai, that sort of group of kids, and the sort of the violence sounds too strong a word, but they really beat him up, and like you see it there, that like the physical harm they're doing to him, and he's completely broken and he hates it, and being there, and Mr. Miyagi is his savior in it. And the moments where you see it, which I completely forgot about, when sort of Mr. Miyagi gets drunk and he's remembering his wife and child who died and things like that, and they're really well acted. It's really deep in places, but not in a, I think, in a really credible sort of way. It fits with the story. It's really well written. It's really well acted. There are some bits which are, stereotypical American 80s film, but overall, I absolutely loved it. I came away from it thinking, wow, that is a brilliant film. Like that really stands up now.
What was his name? Danny Zuko, wasn't it?
Was it Zuko?
Oh no, that's Greece.
That's Greece.
Daniel.
He's got an Italian American surname.
Yeah.
I can't think of what his
Not
surname.
Zuko.
No. But amazing film. Really impressed.
I haven't seen that for quite some time, but again, I bet I could watch that now and enjoy it just as much. It was such a good film.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, because they do, was it 3 with Danny, or was there only 2 and then they had a girl, didn't they?
Well, yeah, looking on Amazon Prime, because it's sort of, as you've watched one, it then tells you about the other ones. There's Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, and then there's the next Karate Kid, which looking at the picture, it's got a girl in it. But I remember seeing, I'm sure I've probably seen 2 and 3, but I don't remember sort of seeing the third one at all. So I've no idea. And to be honest, I want to watch the others, but I don't know whether I'll watch that one, because it's like watching Home Alone 4, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah. I think, if you associate a certain character with a film, so when they try and reboot it's probably not going for a reboot. It's a follow-on, but it's starting afresh again.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not the same. But speaking of kids, apologies for any listeners, and you, Matt, because you can probably hear my 7-month-old in the background who's just woke up and found her voice. What was the age rating on that? Was it weren't PG?
Surprisingly, it was a 15.
But you say surprisingly, but like you say, with the violence in it, that's what I was thinking. Because in my head, surely if that was a PG, you probably wouldn't have taken your kids at such a young age.
But that's it. I remember it as like Sunday afternoon thing on
Kids
the
film, yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that it was that rating, unless I know with some of the 80s films, I think a lot of them were sort of PGs, but they're quite close to the mark with some of the content and things like that. So I don't know whether it's been re-rated, but yeah, I was quite surprised. But apart from that, I mean, it's got the violence is quite sort of brutal, and it's even in the sort of the karate scenes, the sensei of the Cobra Kai is encouraging his people to physically hurt him, and you know, you can see he's in a lot of pain and stuff like that. But there's the odd bit of swearing, but apart from that, I
just
guess
love,
they edited it for the TV. I guess is all they did.
I just love the journey that he goes on,
Mm?
like you say, through the kind of bullying as such
Yeah,
within the martial arts and the tournaments and things like that. But then the redemption that he gets
yeah,
towards
exactly.
the end. I
That
mean, it's
last
an
kick
old,
to the face.
yeah, and
When
but
he's doing the
even
crane.
but even with the injuries and things like that that he gets, and I can't remember if it was the second one or the third one where he's pretty much on one leg.
No, and this is the first one
In the
because
first one,
they
was it? Yeah.
early in one of the sort of heats they injure his leg,
Yeah.
and then sort of when this guy that's it. He in the semi-final, the guy, the sensei of Cobra Kai, tells the guy to injure him, and he says, "Oh, but that means I'm disqualified." It's like, no, you've got to injure him. So like he purposely nearly breaks his leg. So not when he goes through to the final, that's
He's already
his weak
handicapped to
point.
some
Is all
extent.
exactly that's it. He's already
Yeah.
really hurt.
But don't you think, like, even when I think back to that film, like, it was one of them things as a kid you like reenacted the crane kick.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. You
like
do.
it was so popular, like not
Yeah,
against each other, but it was just that whole
yeah.
movement and the arms out and on one leg and then
Truly
do the kick.
iconic.
Yeah.
And wax on and wax off and all of
Yeah,
those
like there's
things in
so
it.
many. Yeah.
Yeah,
The funny thing is, I'd done martial arts as a youngster, and at no point did we do crane kicks.
yeah. It must, I
This
wonder
wasn't what
what.
I signed up for.
There are parts in the only one sort of not negative, but the only one thing I picked up on is so if he goes through all this training and he registers for this tournament and beats all these people, but throughout it, he looks like he has no idea what he's doing. Like they're all there and they're strong in their positions as you have to be in martial arts, and he's sort of like, oh God, what am I doing here for most of it? But I guess that's part of the character, isn't it?
Story,
He shouldn't really be there because he's he's not trained for years and that some guys put him there, but yeah. Brilliant film, and it's Daniel LaRusso. I've just
Daniel
looked up.
LaRusso.
That was his character name.
A distant relative to Zuko.
Zuko, yeah.
And we'll save our Grease chat for season 3.
The Grease special.
Yeah, but we're going to do all the songs, aren't we?
Yeah.
I've been watching something that's also got violent themes to it. Over the last couple of weeks, we started watching Line of Duty, which is a BBC crime drama, one where you're guessing who's done what and who's killed someone or whatever. And it is so good. I didn't realise how good it was. I think this started in like 2012 as well, like the first series, and I think they're now doing somehow under everything that's going on. They're now doing season 6, and they're only like 5 or 6 episodes per series. So and they're about an hour long. So it, kind of been doing 1 episode a night, maybe 2 at a push. But it's such a good cast, and there's that you have kind of a kind of big named actor or actress in each series, and the early ones they weren't as kind of, for me, not as well known. But this, I'm watching season 4 at the moment, just coming to the end of that, and that's got Tandy Newton in.
Right.
She's kind of one of the main people, and the whole point of the story in this Line of Duty is that you follow AC-12, which is what does that stand for? I've literally just forgot what they even stand for, but it's anti-corruption. That's it.
Right. Okay.
So they're looking at from within the police force and looking at different cover-ups or people involved in things, and there's a reoccurring theme that goes through all the series, and it's not like it's really long drawn out because you'll have a main story, but in the background there's a link to something that's gone
Right.
on in the previous. It is so good, Matt. I really recommend it if you're into that sort of style of show. I couldn't recommend it even more. And just to lighten the mood, because it is really violent, and some of the, you're seeing people getting shot or whatever. And I won't give you any spoilers, but just to balance it out, I've also at the same time an easy watch in the background has been The American Office,
Right.
which I'd kind of made it all the way to I think series 8, and then kind of dipped out of it again. But I finished that off as well because they're really easy watch. But again, so good, so good. If you get a chance.
Definitely. Yeah, no, but problem I find is that, and this is purely down to me, is there are lots of really good, really sort of well written sort of dramas on the BBC and sort of
Mm.
British dramas and that. A lot of them just don't appeal to me, and I don't know why. I don't know whether it's just that I've been brought up. I might have said this before, brought up conditioned by American entertainment, but there's just it just doesn't instantly appeal. And I know I'm completely wrong with this, especially because one of the things we're just finishing off and we got one episode to go is Killing Eve, which is
Mm.
incredible. We're just last episode of season 3 we got to watch now. Amazing, so well written, so well acted. Just everything about it is just great.
Mm.
And there are lots and lots of things out there, of a similar nature. But yeah, definitely we'll check that out.